Now, if you are thinking of stopping drinking or you've recently stopped drinking, in this video, I want to share some questions that you can ask yourself to firstly solidify the decision to be a non-drinker, and then secondly, to help you with building a better life after becoming sober. So there's kind of two halves of this video. It will make sense as we get into it, but really the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves dictate the quality of our life. So if we can ask ourselves some very high quality questions after stopping drinking, it can change everything. Now in the Sober Clear program, this is what we do, is we focus on building a paradigm using first principles thinking, so you understand alcohol for what it is, so the desire to drink disappears, but then we focus on what's next. We focus on defining a dream, defining who you want to be next. So I kind of want to share a few things that I share with people in the program about how they can start moving towards what's next in their life. And if you do want my help stopping drinking without AA, without willpower, without rehabs, without therapy, then do make sure to click the link in the description. There's a short video that outlines the Sober Clear program and how we work with business owners and professionals, helping them to stop drinking. And then you'll be able to book a call and we can see if the Sober Clear program may be a good idea for you. Now guys, the very first question relates to stopping drinking itself. Now, I've worked with people in the Sober Clear program that already stopped drinking and people that haven't stopped drinking yet. I've got like a spectrum of people. Now, there's one particular guy that comes to mind called Matt. And I'll actually link you to Matt's review up here. Now, when Matt joined the program, he'd actually stopped drinking for multiple months already. However, he was going to AA and he didn't feel like the decision to be a non-drinker was going to stick. So he started looking for a program where he could go all in because he knew that alcohol was causing huge problems in his life and he was afraid of relapsing, but he didn't feel like AA was a solid way for him to stop drinking. Not saying that that's for everybody. Like my own mother has been to AA for 20 years and she's all in. She's like fully committed to that program and she's not going to drink again, or it's highly unlikely. But for Matt, he didn't feel like that. So the very first question to ask yourself is, how committed are you? How certain are you that you are going to be a non-drinker? That's where I would start. That is the first question. Because if you don't feel all in, if you don't feel 100%, then if you really ask me, in my eyes, then there is a bit of a problem there. There is something that you're holding on to, whether that's a belief that it's still a good thing, whether that you think normal drinkers are something to admire, whether you think that it's effective at helping you relax. There's probably some belief that you are holding on to. And that needs dismantling. That needs dismantling through first principles thinking. So that is the first question. I would just ask myself, how committed am I to making this a reality? How committed am I to really solving this problem and going all in? And if you spend a bit of time really doing some introspection and just going deep and being unfiltered with yourself and being very truthful and honest with yourself, you may uncover some reasons or some blocks that might come up further down the line. So for example, the first time that I stopped drinking using willpower for around 9 months, I never asked myself that. I never said, how committed am I? So the time that I went to the New Year's Eve party and ended up drinking again, well, if I'd have known that I wasn't like 100%, then I might have looked for another solution. I might have read another book. I might have read something that gave me that moment where I was like, whoa, it's done, I'm finished. And because I wasn't like that, there was a time when the willpower ran out and I ended up drinking again. So that is the first thing I'll ask. Now, once I know that I'm all in, and once people in the Sober Clear program know that they're all in, they're switched on, they're ready to go for it, the next question to ask yourself is, what do you want? What's your dream? What do you want to go towards next? And it's really defining what you want. Now, this takes a hell of a lot of energy, it takes a hell of a lot of time, and it's a continual process that evolves as you achieve things and so on. But for me, I had to define something to move towards next. I couldn't just sit around and wait for some magical moment and just pray that things would be okay. I had to define what to move towards next, and I had to get busy moving forward. Now, that was just the approach that worked for me. It was having this focus on the future. For some people, they need to go to the past. They need to go and see a therapist. They need to uncover other things. But going into the past and making amendments and doing all of this stuff, for me, it just wasn't really helping me in the way that I needed help. I needed to focus on the future. I needed to set new goals and I needed just to get busy living. So that's the first thing that I would ask myself is, what do I want next? What do I want to achieve? The next question that I ask myself is, why? Why do I want to achieve these things? So for example, your goal might be financial. It might be to start a business because you want to make a certain amount of money per month. For other people, it might be that your relationship isn't a 10 out of 10 at the moment. Drinking's been getting in the way of the relationship, and that is your next thing that you want to develop. You want to get your relationship to a 10 out of 10. You want your spouse or your partner to just be where you want it to be. So the next question is why do you want this to happen? And this is where you can find some extremely powerful motivators. When we know what we want and why we want it, we can use our why to keep us going. So for example, I knew that when I stopped drinking, I knew what I wanted, right? I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be able to work online. I wanted to be able to move to Asia. I wanted to get another relationship. I wanted to get my health to the next level. And I knew what I wanted. And the reason why I personally wanted it is because I've got this fear of getting to an old age and looking back at my life and just thinking that I didn't do it all. I didn't push things to the knife's edge. I kind of lived this mediocre life, and that fills me with dread and fear, and I hate the thought of that. That is my why. It's still my why today. It was probably my biggest reason reason why I stopped drinking in the first place, and it's what motivates me today. I want to get to the end of my life and say, I freaking went for it. I went all in. It was a life lived. Even if I don't achieve all the things that I wanted to achieve, I know that I put everything into it. So spend some time uncovering your why. Ask why you want to do the things that you want to do. For some of you guys, like I've got one friend called Dan, and his why is his kids. Everything that he does is to support his family. And that is his motivator. And that guy is one motivated mother effer. And the reason is because he's got such a strong why, and he knows his why. He's very connected to his why, and he just goes for it. Now, the final thing that you should ask yourself after stopping drinking, and once you kind of know what you want and why you want it, is who? Who do you need to be to get it? Now, this who part of things is a part of the Sober Clear program where we define who we need to be to achieve the goal. So in my personal life, I knew what I wanted, right? I wanted the online business, moved to Asia, and so on. I knew why I wanted it, but then I had to define who I needed to be to get it. And I needed to be somebody that could speak, that could come up with ideas for content, that could actually help people, that could record videos, that knew YouTube, that understood sales, that understood marketing, that understood coaching, and all of these different things that I knew that I had to evolve who I was to achieve what I wanted. So I defined exactly who I needed to be to achieve the things that I wanted. I actually put this down on paper, and it's part of the Sober Clear program where we create this manifesto and we create this document of the ideal version of you. And what we essentially do is we define the character, the version of you that can achieve the dream. And when you combine all of these things together, it's game over, right? It's game over in a good way, not in a bad way. It's just like you can just go for it. You can get alcohol out of your life and just get busy moving forward. So guys, in the comment section, let me know what you want, why you want it, and who you need to be to get it. And like I said, if you want my help stopping drinking without AA Willpower Rehab, click the link in the description. And if you click the video on the screen now, you can learn more about the one thing that got me to stop drinking forever. Thanks a lot.